Knows Best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Friday. Y'all, we're here, and we're going to talk about Brenna's first brand trip. Our first brand trip. I'm going to give you the nitty gritty, but first, let's back it up to a day before. Okay, Thursday night, I had an event with ProLash, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this last week. ProLash is based out of Utah. All right. If anything is based out of Utah, it is going to be people who are LDS. Mormons. I'm trying to be nicer about the things that I say. Not nicer, but like I feel that I oftentimes say words. Like I think they're trying to get away from the word Mormon. I was going to say like if they're based out of Utah, they're Mormons, but I don't think they like that anymore or like saying that. And I really don't ever want to be hurtful because hello, my fiance's whole entire family are Mormons, but I'm trying to be respectful. But anyways, you can bet your ass if there's a company out of Utah, they're going to be Mormon. And thank God, if you guys were not here, and if you were, hi, hello. I told a story way back in the day. Actually, have I told this story on here? Me and my sweet fiance, right? This was way before we were fiancés. This was actually the first thing that like came to our mind when we talked about getting wedding rings. We went on our road trip 2 Christmases ago, right? We'd been dating for like 9 months. We're going on a road trip. I am in love with this brand, Olive Ave Jewelry. Okay. And they are based out of Mesa, Arizona, right? You don't think anything of that, do you? Well, apparently Mesa, Arizona is also Mormon territory. Apparently that is known within the LDS community. But if you're not in the, let me also say, if you're like, bitch, you keep bouncing between LDS and Mormon. Mormons are LDS. What does that stand for? Latter-day Saints. That is their church. It's always like the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. That means Mormon. Those are the same, I think. And this is where like, I think they're trying to pivot away from the word Mormon and just like be LDS. Like that's like saying that somebody is Lutheran, like they're LDS, right? I think Mormon is the term that we kind of just made to call the people. I'm not really sure. Well, I didn't even know these things existed before. But anywho, back to Mesa, Arizona. Well, Olive Ave was based out of Mesa, Arizona. And the only reason I knew that is because we were going on this road trip. Mesa is a suburb of Phoenix, or it's like a city in Phoenix. I would say that's a suburb. I'm not sure if that's like how it is everywhere. But we planned to go see them and look at engagement rings. So this was like it was like a year and a half ago. Y'all, am I okay? Sorry. Hot Mess Express. Anywho, we go, right? And Carter did not think for one motherfucking second that he should warn me that these people are gonna be Mormon, right? However, he knew. And here is the thing. I never can pick up on these kind of things. Like it's similar to like even, which you can't always pinpoint, but like Mormons in specific, I feel like oftentimes they don't all look the same, but they do have a certain look, right? But here's the thing. We went on this road trip. We had an appointment for, let's say, Saturday at 10 a.m. with Olive Ave Jewelry. And all I know is like, I've talked to these girls via DMs. They sent me a ring once. I set up this appointment to look at engagement rings, and that's it. I didn't think anything. And here is the other thing. I don't meet people and like try and think what religion or like I don't make assumptions. I just like meet people and I don't think past like the conversation that we're having, right? We'll leave and like let's say Carter and I are out and about and then we get home and we met somebody and he was like, oh yeah, they were Jewish. And I'm like, what? Like, how did you know that? And he's like, well, their last name and then this and then he said this and this. I'm not thinking about that. Like I'm never going there. Like I don't even, it's not a thought in my head to like, which it's not in like a judgy manner. Like he was just making an observation. And if I would have thought for 1 second about that, I could have put 2 and 2 together, but similar to the Mormons, like something will happen, and he's like, oh, they were a Mormon. And I'm like, wait, how did you know that? Like, it just isn't something that I'm thinking about. Well, I don't know if Carter picked it up when we were there or if he knew beforehand and had a hunch, or he just straight up knew and didn't tell me. We go to this Olive Ave appointment and they're amazing. I love them. We were primarily with 2 girls, but then they went back behind because they literally made the jewelry there and pulled out 2 other girls that like knew of me and wanted to say hi. And then we were kind of in this conversation, and this was like right when we got there, and they had been asking about our road trip and so on and so forth. And I'm not sure if I should have, again, this is like my bad. After the fact, I'm like, oh my God, I should have picked up on that. But again, I'm not even thinking about it. Well, it came out like somehow, some way. Oh, they asked and they hinted at it, and shame on them. They were like, oh, how was Utah? You know, like kind of a different culture, so on. And I'm like, holy fuck, like, let's get into it. Let's talk about the Mormons. And I'm like, actually, Carter's like an ex-Mormon. And I kind of go in and then I tell them about this story. Oh, Brenna, y'all, they got me swig. Okay. If you don't know what swig is, it's those soda shops, because Mormons don't drink coffee or tea. So they drink shit tons of soda. That should have been the first of many signs, right? Because before we went, they asked for our swig order. And I'm like, oh my God, I've never had it. I've seen it on TikTok, so on and so forth. I just thought that maybe they liked pop. Right. I did not think for one second that they would be a Mormon. Like, I just know that they're popular in other places. Goddamn. Maybe it makes me so upset because I'm a fucking idiot. But okay, we're standing there. And I mentioned, yeah, Carter, you know, his family's his family is Mormon. He is an ex-Mormon. And then I tell them about one time when we went to Montana. Before then, we connected in Salt Lake City, and it was like 5 p.m. And I go up to this coffee shop in the airport in Salt Lake City. You are a literal barista. Okay. And I order a coffee, and this girl gave me a fucking attitude, kind of, that I was getting coffee. Like, you could tell that she was disgusted with me. And I'm like, you are the barista. Like, I put it together after the fact. Obviously, she's Mormon. We're in Salt Lake City, so on and so forth. Don't judge me for liking coffee. Hello? I don't judge you. Okay, I'm not sitting here saying this, that, and the other. I'm not going to Carter's parents like, oh my gosh, you don't drink coffee. Oh, you guys believe in this and this. I would never. Right? I would never. But this girl like had a tone with me, and I'm telling these girls the story. So I'm kind of like going in a little bit. And of course, when I tell a story, I have to like amp it up. And I, you know, tell the story, and I probably like said a few like not like bad things, but I'm like, just because I like coffee, like I'm like being extra. Right. And then we go on and we have the whole appointment, and they were great and amazing, and the whole thing was wonderful. But we get to the car, and Carter was like, you do realize they are Mormon, right? And I said, what? No clue. Actually, I think there was one point where somebody mentioned BYU. And again, like, now I know this was still in the early stages of me and Carter. I hadn't really been around his family. I didn't really know the Mormon things. Like, if you hear BYU, Mormon, just like, no. Like, I'm trying to teach you guys the signs, so you're not out here like me, who's just getting fucked, right, by my own like ignorance, or like my own ignorance, essentially. He's like, yeah, babe, like, we're in Mesa, which is like a Mormon place. How the fuck would I know that? He's like saying this to me as if it's like common knowledge. I'm like, okay. And he's like, and that girl said she went to BYU, and she's like the blonde, you know, whatever. And then after the fact, of course, I'm like, yeah, that does make sense. Well, now I look out for these things. Therefore, Pro Lash, they're based out of Utah. I take one look at their page. They've got the blonde hair. They're skinny, so on and so forth. They're Mormon. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to be on my best behavior. Again, I'm not going around, but of course, like, I don't know. I always just say stupid shit and I get myself in trouble. Right. And I'm like, okay, babe, I'm going. And this is definitely like an LDS situation. And he's like, amazing. And again, I love them. Every single LDS Utah Mormon person I know, incredible. Well, there's one that I don't really enjoy. But besides one literal person out of hundreds that I've met thus far, amazing. So nice, so kind. I get to this Pro Lash event. These girls are like amazing. They invited me early to like do some content with them and just like look around, and they were incredible. And then we bonded. I was telling them that Carter's brother is on a mission, and that, you know, grandpa went to BYU and whatever, and blah, 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 blah. Right. Like, I'm in it. Okay. But it is so interesting the look that they have, how they all just have like the blonde hair, they're skinny. Like, I get it. I think because the culture is so deep and Utah really is its own place. Like, it's kind of its own little country almost. Like, we are so not peer pressured, but like persuaded, so influenced by what we're around, and like that's the culture. And here is the other thing, and again, like another plus to this community, they don't drink, and I think they're rather healthy. Like, they're all in really good shape, they all look really healthy, they're all like really happy, and it's probably because they don't drink and like do these things and partake. Oh, now here, see, I'm still learning. I don't think they cuss. And I knew that Carter's dad, like, he's really against cussing, but like, I didn't know if that was a part of the religion. And I think that it is. Okay, I think it's a part of the religion that you don't cuss, because we were doing yoga, right? So I go, we do the thing, and then we go downstairs, and it ended up being outside. I think I told you on Thursday that it was like rainy and I wasn't sure, and we were going to be by the eyeball, but it was going to go indoors if it was raining. Well, like right before the event, the clouds opened up, so they had people last minute put us down on the lawn. So the handful of us that came early, wait, can I tell you something that this will tie into like the brand trip conversation? Let me break it down, because I also went to that YouTuber event the night before. When you meet people, like when I go to these influencer events, I like to just speak to people, meet them. I'm a normal fucking human being, and I just want to connect and talk. Well, I get to this Pro Lash event. I'm like the first one there because I'm always first. I talk to the girls, but there's like only 4 or 5 of them. So they're running around, like the girls that like own the company and like manage it. They're doing sorts of stuff. Other people were coming, and I didn't recognize any of them. Sorry. And not that I've been to a ton of events, but usually I can like recognize faces, and it was like people I didn't know, which is cool and great and dandy. But like there were a few times, and all of them came with the +1. And I don't know if I was allotted a +1. I probably wouldn't have brought anybody anyways, but everybody came in a pair. But I'm actually realizing that they were just like influencers that just like came together, or like creators. And I like tried to speak to a few of them, just like, you know, say something, and then they would like walk away. So the vibes were already just weird. The Pro Lash girls, amazing. These girls that came early were like so odd. And then I'm standing at a table again, just like trying to have like a normal person conversation with just like anybody. I'm just like standing there, which is fine. I'm fine. But it's like, why don't we like socialize, like break away from the person that you came with? This is the thing with influencers. I've realized some, not all, and this is what I was really worried about at the brand trip, which was actually amazing, and we'll have a whole thing about that. This girl, right, she comes up to me, and it's almost like they put on this character, and it's like they're not a real human being. It's like you're having the conversation and the small talk just to do it. And this is also what happens, which I'm sure all of you can imagine. When you meet somebody, oftentimes like you'll then connect on socials. And here is the thing, it does give the vibe of like they want to see how many followers you have. Like if you've never met them, they don't recognize you. Like for example, that very first event I went to over a year ago with Steve Madden, there were some girls that like I was just chatting with and talking to, and like it's not the first thing to like bring up the socials, but there would be people that I like say hello, and they're like, oh my god, let's follow each other on Instagram. It's like, bitch, I haven't even spoken to you yet. Like we don't even know each other. And like I don't know, there's a time and place when it like feels right and it makes sense, but then there's another time where it doesn't, and you can just tell that they want to see how many followers you have, because obviously you have to pull up your account. Well, this girl at this Pro Lash event, which I didn't know who she was. Again, there's always like mommy bloggers, and I don't consume that content, and that's what they were. But she like immediately, it was like hi, and it was like, oh, let's follow each other. And then the conversation was so like fake, like it was just so not real. And then literally, you guys, were in a room, and it's like not that big, there's only like 10 of us total, and she's like, okay, like it was so short, and she's like, oh my gosh, so nice to meet you, like and she walks to like a table 2 feet from me. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, some of them just don't know how to be like real people, you know? And this is what I was worried about on the brand trip because I didn't know any of these girls. I'm like, oh God, what's the scenario going to be? It's also similar to like a bachelorette party. Like, it's a bunch of girls you don't know typically all together for a weekend. It's like, oh gosh, this could be great or not. You just don't know the personalities. But at the Pro Lash, like, that was the weirdest thing. And like, she had a lot of followers. And like, I could just tell, like, she wanted to make that known because she didn't pull up her phone. She like asked for mine so she could type in her name. That way I would see. And I'm just like, but then the conversation, I'm like, I don't enjoy, like, what are we doing? Like, and also here is the other thing. When I go to these events, like, I want to connect with like the brand. Now, if I start like interviewing people on this podcast or like doing collaborations, but like with creators I'm talking about, that makes sense. But like, also, we don't all need to follow each other. Like, I think it's great and dandy and it's wonderful, but like, this girl, I'm like, I am not sure if I'm ever going to see you again, but like, what was this interaction? Like, we could have just spoken and then not followed each other. Like, we don't have to do that. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm just like a people first person. I'm like, I get it. We're creators, but like, can we just be humans? Like, I don't know. And we'll talk more about this with my facial yesterday. I was talking to the woman about it, but anywho, that was the event. We did yoga. Oh, back to the cussing. Okay, we're doing this stretch and my hamstrings are so bad. And the founder of the company was right next to me and she was amazing. Her name was Haley. She honestly was like so cute. And she has like 3, because of course they all have like a million kids, again, the Mormon way. And she was next to me. And of course I out loud, I'm like, damn. And like right after that, she's like, dang. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm not supposed to cuss. And then I'm thinking back, so this is yoga. I had already spent like 45 minutes with them. I'm like, oh, I totally cussed up there and I like should not have. I was like, oh, see, I'm still making mistakes. Anywho, that was the event. Yoga was great. It was so cute, whatever. I go home, wake up Friday and pack. Okay, my flight for the brand trip. If this is your first episode here, Sally Hansen was taking me, and I think there was 10 total of us, so 9 other girls, to San Antonio to go to Ulta Beauty World, but like to go on a brand trip. Okay, they bought us business class tickets, which we flew American, so that was like the first, it's like first business class. I don't know the fucking difference. Anyways, I pack, and I wasn't sure. I knew that Ulta Beauty World had said that you were going to go home with like $1,000 worth of product. Like, that was a part of the ticket. Therefore, I knew I was going to be getting products and should leave extra space. So I packed my big suitcase, like a suitcase that you would check and can only check. And I put everything in there. And then I just brought my tiny little crossbody Prada bag because I'm like, oh my God, if I'm going to check a bag and like right now I don't need anything, let me just put my book, my phone. And so I put everything in the carry-on, but I had a bag in there, a Dagny Dover carry-on. That way, once I got the product, that would go in my checked bag. And then I would have another bag to just stuff my clothes and things in. Amazing. I get to the airport. I take a Lyft. Oh, let me give you the behind the scenes. So they send you, like I've told you before, for events, like you'll get an Uber code. So beforehand, Sally Hansen sent over a $500 Uber code, and that's for the whole weekend. So it's like for, to the airport, from the airport. And of course they had transportation ready for us, but there was like both nights, honestly, you could like go out, you could do whatever. And therefore they like, they don't want you to pay money. Like, why would they bring you on a trip and then make you pay money? Like, it's just part of the thing. So I got a Lyft. Carter worked from home. I left here at like 2 or 2:30 because when you're checking a bag, I think it's good to be there an hour before. That way you make sure your bag makes it on the plane. And I'm like, whatever, I can hang out. So I get to the airport and I never sit by the gate. I had like an hour and a half. So I'm like, let me just walk far away, close enough where I can bop over there, but far away. That way I didn't know if any other girls were going to be on my plane. I didn't know who was from Dallas. Like, I got the list, but I didn't like really check. And none of them I knew really. I had maybe seen faces, but I'm like, okay, whatever. Well, the time comes to board, and since we were business class, we got to be in group 1 and board first. And there was a girl right in front of me in like a matching blue set. And I'm like, oh, this is an influencer bitch. And we talked about it afterwards. It's like, you can tell who is and who isn't. And honestly, they had no idea that I was just in my matching like Lulu set, my little gray one. But I'm behind her, and then she pulled out her phone and was like taking like a picture or a video. So I'm like, oh, this girl's it. But it was like weird. We were boarding the plane and like I didn't know what to say. I didn't know who she was. I was like, let me just get on the plane. If I'm by somebody, I'll make conversation, but like we'll just wait until after. So we get on the plane. I'm like row 5. So I see people get on. That girl's in business class. So I'm like, okay, she's definitely a part of the group. I did notice Kyra, who I actually adored. I recognized her just from online and knowing, oh, because she's a DBA girl. She's in the same talent management as me. Therefore, I picked up on that. Okay. And so I noticed her. She was in the front row next to that other girl. And then that was all I really saw. Well, I'm seated next to this gentleman who was kind and great. And of course, I hit it off with him. He was like going to meet his high school friends, so on and so forth. This flight, you guys, was 40 minutes. We're up and we're down. I literally got my coffee in a mug and like 2 minutes. They're like, okay, we have to take that. I'm like guzzling it down my throat. It was like hot. I was actually kind of pissed. I'm like, why did I get this? Like, why did you guys even give me this if you knew I was going to have 2 minutes to drink it? But whatever. This flight, and I had heard the girl that was standing in front of me. We got the itinerary and like we were leaving for dinner at 6:40. Our flight wasn't landing until 5:30. So of course, like the girls that like take the photos and care about their appearance are like, oh my God, we're not gonna have enough time. I was like, whatever. I wore makeup on the plane, not a lot, but enough that like I could also then just go straight to dinner. All I had to do was put my dress on. Well, anyways, we land. Somebody texted in the group chat, the Dallas girlies. So there was 5 of us. And they were like, okay, we have like a Sally Hansen van. It's like got a wrap on it. We'll pick you up. Don't worry about the time. Like it's fine, but go get your bags and so on and so forth. Well, the 5th row of the plane is the last of like the first in business class. So I knew all the girls were in front of me and I'm talking to this man. So we were the last of the first class to get off. So I'm walking off and I haven't said hello. I haven't talked to anybody. I don't really know. But as I'm coming off at the end of like, you know how they always have those little like string like things to keep people in line. They're at the end. Like, you know, I see 4 girls standing in a circle, one with it's Kyra and then the one with the matching set. And then there was this blonde girl who's now I know is Kat with this like bright orange and pink set on. She was like, it was Ulta. But I see them and they don't know who I am. So immediately I go up. I'm like, hi. I was like, I think I'm the 5th. Like, let's get going. Does anybody have to pee? I just like round everybody up. I'm like, you know, because they were all standing around, like looking at the group chat being like, oh, I think there's 5 of us, whatever. And like, I had already, you know, answered that question in my head. So I'm like, hey. And they were like, oh my gosh, hi. Like nobody knew who I was, obviously. We go to the bathroom. We come out. I'm like, okay, are you guys ready? Like, let's go. And I didn't mean to like be rounding them up. I learned after the fact, they thought I worked for Sally Hansen. Like they thought I was like somebody in charge because I kind of just took charge because I hate when people like stand around and don't get moving. Like, let's go. Okay. All of us are here. Like, let's move on. It's like when you're leaving a restaurant and everybody gets up but nobody goes, like, I'm always the first one to go. Like, why the fuck are we standing around? Like, come on. You know, I just naturally, I wouldn't say I'm a leader, but in that sense, like, I'm just like, okay, let's go. You know, it's funny that I'm so indecisive in other aspects, but in that I'm like, let's go. Right. Well, anyways, I learned like at the airport coming back. So 2 days later that they had thought, okay, we'll get there. Anyways, I round us all up. We go, we're chatting. So like I'm talking to Kyra. That girl who was in front of me when we got on the plane is Juliana, who I actually ended up spending all of Ulta Beauty World with. She's amazing. She's a mother of 2. She'd just gotten engaged. She's like the cutest little thing ever. But everybody's amazing. Like the 5 of us, you know, we're vibing. There's Kai, there's Kat, there's Kyra, and there's Juliana. And we go and get our bags. And then we go outside. And then the Sally Hansen Sprinter van comes and gets us. And then Louise, who is part of the marketing team, because like I told you that Amazon event, like these brands, you know, use marketing agencies to like do the whole thing is what I'm gathering. Therefore, this girl works for the marketing team that like put it on, or like the marketing agency. Honestly, now that I'm saying it, I don't really know what I'm talking about, but she was incredible. She was like the cutest thing. She like was the one who was with us through it all. And we learned once we got on the Sprinter van. So everybody else was there. There was 5 of us from Dallas. There was 3 from Houston and 2 from Austin. So the girls, the other 5 had gotten there before us. The 2 from Austin rode a bus, I think. And then the 3 from Houston also had a flight, but they got in earlier. So they were all at the hotel. So we were running to the hotel. She's like, okay, you guys are going to get ready. We're going to dinner. And she's like, by the way, so this agency basically works with Cody, and Cody is the mother of like a bunch of brands. So they're above Vera Wang fragrances. They're above CoverGirl. They also have Philosophy. They have a ton of brands. And CoverGirl brought girls to Ulta Beauty World, and so did Vera Wang. And we were all staying at the same place because the marketing agency was above all of them. Like they kind of kept us separate, or they did, but we knew that they were there. And then that way in the morning, we always had from 8 to 10 a breakfast. Hello, always. It was 2 mornings. We had a breakfast. Oh my God, bitch. Why can't I speak? Breakfast. And it was all of the girls. So like on Saturday morning, sorry, I'm jumping ahead for a second. I was like the first one there at 8 a.m. But there was a table and all of these girls had worked for either Sally Hansen or CoverGirl or the marketing agency. There was like 6 of them because each of them had a designated person taking them around, and each of them was with the brand to do the things. And therefore, yeah, that's kind of like how that goes, just to give you a little behind the scenes because it's interesting. And I always vibe with those people. So like I sat with them, I always like the brand people, I'm like not really influencer. I'm like them. I feel more like them than I do influencer. You know what I mean? But anyways, we take the Sprinter van to the hotel. They already checked us in because they knew it was going to be a tight turnaround. So Luis gave us our hotel cards and we get to the hotel and I go up to my room, and we were all on separate floors, which was interesting. But I walk in and I obviously took the video on my story. They had Sally Hansen everywhere, nail polish, the, stick-ons. What are those? The ones that go on? Press-ons. Then, I had the hoodie on and I just love this hoodie, but a hoodie and little slippers. Oh my gosh, you guys, what is wrong with my actual brain? I don't know. Slippers and a hat and like cutesy little things, which was amazing, but we didn't have much time to like bask in it. Like I took that story, I called Carter and I was getting ready. I just touched up my makeup and put on my dress. And then we were going to dinner at Best Quality Daughter in San Antonio. We were taking the Sprinter van. And therefore, once we went down after we got dressed, we met the other girls who were also amazing. I obviously hit it off most with the Dallas girls just because we ended up spending that time and you kind of build these relationships. Like the 2 Austin girls kind of did their own thing. And then I feel like also the Houston girls had done the same thing, but we all tried to like mix and mingle, and we head on over to dinner. This is the Friday night dinner. So we go to dinner and everything's great. And we sit at this long table and we had a photographer there. And I actually sat next to this girl, Cynthia, who works for Sally Hansen. She had been at the booth all day. So like, this is where we also got the heads up about Ulta Beauty World the next day, because they have been there on Thursday and Friday doing like stuff with execs. And like, it's a whole week event essentially for these brands. But Cynthia, she's 5 months pregnant. She had stood at the booth all day long. She was amazing. So a lot of them were out of New York. She had just recently moved back to Miami with her husband because she's pregnant and she's living at her in-laws. And we were talking about it. I'm like, I don't care how great your in-laws are. That would fucking suck. Right. And she was like, and my husband, like his mom has like this, attachment, and she was killing me, but I loved her. And yeah, we had dinner, and then, we get back from dinner on Friday night, and like, I immediately get in the elevator by myself. Like everybody was kind of chit-chatting. I'm like, I'm going to my room. It was like probably 9 p.m. at this point. I'm like, we have a long day tomorrow. I don't care if they're going out or what. And at our hotel, the hotel was amazing. It was Kimpton Santo, San Antonio. And there was like a rooftop restaurant. There were like a few restaurants and like bar areas. Well, apparently everybody went up and got drinks. No, I was in bed. Which like you guys know, I have like the opposite of FOMO. I have JOMO, which is the joy of missing out. I don't give a singular shit. But anywho, there was a lot of girls that went up there, had drinks apparently. I learned the next day. Well, we also like all on the Sprinter van, as we were coming back from dinner, because we had all spent time at that point, followed each other. So we had this group chat. Everybody's like, put your link of your thing on the, which like, I get it. You know, everybody's just trying to be supportive, but I'm like, okay. Well, and then in the bus, like I'm always trying to describe, like people, you know, naturally at these things, people are like, what kind of content do you make? And I'm always like, funny, relatable, like shareable I don't know what it's called. I don't know. I just make videos where I fucking talk. Right? Like I don't know what that's called. And like most of the girls there are more like lifestyle or fashion or beauty. And everybody was pulling up my thing. And this girl, Kai, who's from Dallas, she was amazing. She's hysterical. She's like, what the fuck are you saying? You got 18 million views on this one video? I'm like, do not listen to that right now. If I hear my voice, I'm gonna listen in the, you know, humble abode, listen in your hotel room. We can discuss tomorrow. And of course I like get up to my room. They must have gotten drinks, but I wake up the next morning and like Kai had like commented on some of my things and had been like looking at my stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's too much. Well, anyways, I wake up Saturday. I go on a walk. I was up at like, of course, like 5 or 6 a.m. I waited until the sunrise. I walk over. I wanted to see the river walk. It was good. Like, actually, it was so weird because I leave the hotel and we're essentially downtown. I obviously don't know the San Antonio area well, but there are a bunch of runners. Like, I passed like quite a few, at least 5 people running, and like most of them said good morning. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. Like, that's so Texas. I feel like people are so nice. No, like, you know, homeless people, which let me make a disclaimer and let me talk about something really quickly. Do you guys remember back when we had that guy that walked into our apartment, but then this was when we went on that actual road trip. So Christmas 2 years ago, we got back from the road trip and an email got sent out that somebody came home from Christmas break and there was a homeless person in their apartment. They had been living in there while that person was gone. In my apartment, not my apartment, but in my apartment building, a homeless person not only like got up, must have just checked all the doors until they noticed one was open. This person must not have locked their door. And I think this was after, because our doors used to always lock behind us, and then we had the fob. Well, they switched over to this app system, so you have to use the app and then physically lock it. Like, the old ones would just lock. Okay, they must have forgotten to do that, and a homeless person came in and like lived, and they just like sent out a warning. And I made a video about this, and I remember somebody commenting and being like, oh my gosh, you just lost a follower. Like, homeless people are real people too, and how dare you, blah blah blah. Obviously, this person does not live in a big city where there are homeless people. And here's the other thing before we get into it. I wouldn't want anybody in my apartment, even if this was a billionaire. I don't want a random person coming into my apartment and living here. Like, what the fuck are you even talking about? But this person was like trying to like, you know, get people rallied around that I'm like talking shit on homeless people. And like, no, fuck, that is a human being. But like, yo, one time Carter and I went downstairs and there was a homeless person in the lobby area. The smell, obviously they're homeless, and obviously it's sad. Obviously, like, I get it, but like, these people are also the homeless people here in Dallas that we come across, like, are on drugs. Like, you don't know. And like, I've had them come up to me and try and speak to me. I actually had a homeless person like bang on my car. Obviously they're not all the same, but like, I don't think I need to justify myself here, but like, you just don't know. They're unpredictable. It's just like, you don't feel the safest around them. Like, whoever commented that obviously lives in fucking bumfuck North Dakota and actually isn't around homeless people. Like, no, fuck, they are people too. But like, anyways, you guys are not in reality, right? Anywho, I'm in San Antonio and I didn't know like what the like homeless situation would be there. If there would be homeless people, like I just didn't know. Right. And this is why I use pepper spray and why I have it on me. You just like, you don't know, or anybody for that matter. Right. Like, people are just fucking crazy. Okay. well, I passed all these runners and I'm like, oh my gosh, San Antonio, like they're so healthy and like these people are so nice. And then I get a little bit further downtown, closer to the Riverwalk, and then all of a sudden I saw like multiple, like in every direction there was a homeless person. And just again, like you just don't know. And the thing about the Riverwalk is obviously you step down and then it's like below, right? Because like it's like a canal. I'm like, I don't want to be down there. There's like nobody else around, like nobody can even see me. Like it was freaking me out. And like I passed this homeless person who had like tried to talk to me, and it just like, and it was like really early in the morning. And then I looked down the street and like two were like talking over here, and I'm just like, you just don't know. Just people in general, you don't want to be on the street with a fucking man that you don't know. Like I just turned around, I got to see the Riverwalk, and actually we were so close to the convention center. And so I walked over there, y'all. It was like 7 a.m. People were lining up outside. There were girls walking to the convention center with suitcases lining up. I'm like, oh my God. Like, and at this point, we still didn't really know what to expect. The girls at the dinner had told us like it's all these activations and so on and so forth. But like, I didn't really know, number one, how many people had tickets, like what the vibes were going to be. Okay, I get back. It's still not 8 o'clock, and the breakfast was from 8 to 10. It was just like an open, like come and go. So once 8 hit, I go downstairs, and of course, like all the girls are there from the brands, and I chit chat with them, had a little breakfast. People start rolling in. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back and get ready because I was still in like my walking gear. I wore the Anthropologie dress that is such a slay. I'm obsessed with these dresses now. You guys obviously have seen me link them a million times on my story. Obsessed. The pink was perfection. I put on my little sneakers. I put on a little makeup. And then we were meeting at like 10:40. We weren't going until 11. I don't know what time the doors opened, but on our itinerary, they had 11 to 1. Okay, let me just preface. We take the little Sprinter van over, and it was like definitely walking distance, but like some of these girls literally had heels on. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? We're going to a convention, you're wearing heels? I just don't have that in me, I suppose. Anywho, we take the Sprinter van over, we walk in, and like it's a convention center, it's a huge fucking place, but there's always like an area before the actual thing where they have all of this Ulta branding, amazing, and then we had to go through this line, give them our IDs, and then they gave us a tote, and then this little passport thing where it had every brand that was there, and the brands would stamp it, okay, is what we were told. Well, we go through the line, you know, we round everybody up. I think we also had some of the CoverGirl girls there. Again, like these other brands were like kind of with us, and they kind of were like a team. Well, Cynthia comes out and she's like, okay, let me take you guys to the Sally booth. Like, of course, at first you have to go to the Sally booth. Like we're there with Sally Hansen, which amazing, of course. We go through the doors, and you guys, it's just like the craziest. Like you see the brands, they each have their like booths. Some have like major booths and some had like smaller ones. And I think after we started going through, they had them organized. It was kind of like fragrances and then like the hair, and then but it was so overwhelming. It was literally like Disneyland for like beauty. Like it was insane. So we walk through, and the Sally Hansen booth wasn't that far in. So we go there, everybody's taking photos. They give us the whole spiel. We take like group photos, and me and Juliana, which like I had been chit-chatting with everybody at this point. There were some girls that kind of knew each other, so on and so forth. But Juliana and I were standing, and we were sitting there, and then some girls started getting their nails done because they had that at the Sally booth. And I look at her and I'm like, I'm ready. Like, do we have to sit here any longer? Like, let's go. And she's like, no, let's go. And Juliana, so she was like 37. She has an 8-year-old daughter. So it was so fun to go with her because I gave her some of my stuff because her daughter, like beauty and skincare and like all of these things. Some of these brands are in Target. She's like, oh my God, my daughter loves this brand, so on and so forth, whatever. But I end up just like, it just kind of happened that Juliana was around me. Like I asked her, I'm like, can we like leave? And I imagined I was going to go by myself. And she's like, do you want to just go? And I'm like, yes. So we ended up going. So we just kind of like made our way out. But then you would like see a brand and we're like, oh my gosh, we have to stop here. And basically they all had like different kind of like games and things. But when we first arrived, we were given this tote bag. Okay, this Ulta tote when we checked in. And we go to our first booth and they kind of like give you the little rundown on like the new product that they have. Some of the brands had like all of their products there just like on display, but most of them, it was kind of like if they had a new product or something that they were trying to showcase, and they would like talk to you about it or just like chit chat, like, do you know about the brand? Whatever. Well, they always like, you would walk up to them, they would tell you, and then they would have like a little sample something. So you would just doink right into your tote. Okay. Then we see dry bar. We go, and we weren't going in order. We kind of would just like look up and you could see like anywhere from like 5, like they had rows. Obviously there was like columns and like rows, you know, and we didn't like, we were going to start on the far end, but then you would like see something and then we would just go there. And so me and Juliana, we're trying to take photos. We're trying to take pictures. One of the first ones we went to was Too Faced, and like they had a woman standing outside of the booth and she had this little apron on and it was supposed to be like a ice cream shop. So she's like, oh, hi, like, what's your name? Let me write your name. And she would have your little like bowl, so to speak. You would walk in, they had all of the flavors, and of course they were different like lipstick colors. They had somebody behind the counter. It was set up like an ice cream parlor, you guys. So you would hand to her, they're like, oh my gosh, hi Brenna, like what flavor do you want? And I picked bubblegum, which was like the color, you know, and she's like, perfect, we'll call your name when it's ready. And you would move down the thing, and then it would be like, Brenna, and then they put your little products in there and gave it to you. So like a lot of them tried to make it like fun, or they had games, or they had like spin the wheels and then you won a certain thing. Like it's so many, and everybody was so kind and so like uppity and like so on point. Like they were all playing the character. It was like, honestly, the first like hour went by in a flash. Like we just went from booth to booth, just like talking, hi, whatever. Of course, like I got recognized a few times by some people that were just like there. And then some of the girls that worked there, they're like, oh my gosh, you know, and then we would chit chat with them, like take photos, whatever. Taking videos. Of course, all of these girls that I'm with are like taking content, but like that's not my content. Like I'm not gonna post like Ulta Beauty World. I suppose maybe I should have. I'm like, is Sally Hansen gonna hate me if I like don't take that much content? But it's just like not what I do. You know what I mean? So I also all weekend kind of felt conflicted. Like everybody's posting everything and like taking the photos and doing the thing. I'm like, that's just not really what I do. And I'm like, I know I have to kind of play the part. And like I also am so grateful to be there and it's amazing. But like, you know what I mean? I'm also like, do the girls give a shit about this? Like if I make a reel at Ulta Beauty World, like I don't know, it's just like not really what I do. So I kind of the whole time was like, oh, sorry, taking photos, but naturally I just never do, so I didn't even think about it. Thank God I was with Juliana, because she kind of like, I took some photos and some pictures, but like not really, or videos, I mean. But anywho, we bounce around and it literally, you guys, went by in the blink of an eye. All of a sudden, I'm like, wait, we're supposed to leave at 1. It's like 12:15. Louise texted in the thing, like this message if you guys want to leave at 1, if anybody wants to go. Everybody's like, no, like we're going from booth to booth getting products. And also, here's the thing, we do get sent PR, and I'm like, is it kind of crazy that we're getting all of this stuff? Yeah. Is it kind of gross? I want to do a giveaway, but my manager has been out with a sinus infection, so I want to ask her. I just don't know the logistics of that, and like if I should do one or like what to do. I want to talk to her about that, so stay tuned for a giveaway, because I don't need all of this product, and we'll get into that. Anyways, the day is going on, like even an hour, the toe, like our shoulder is hurting. And some of the booths had their own bag. So like all of a sudden we acquired like another big bag and then started stuffing that one. Well, our shoulders, you guys, everybody's walking around. Girls, literally, girls that bought their own tickets and came had suitcases, like filling it. Like every single booth was giving away samples. And it's so funny because we asked like the Sally Hansen girls, we were like, did you know that we were going to get all this? They were like, we had no idea. We just thought the booths, and this is why they only scheduled it from 11 to 1 on our itinerary. They're like, we just thought it was going to be like activations and talk to them. We didn't think they were giving away any product inside. We knew that you guys are getting like $1,000 gift bag, like a Bays bag full of stuff at the end, or like you can get that, but they didn't know that like at the booths, no, every single booth was giving away. Some of them were giving full size product, but most of them were sample size, but giving you like a ton of stuff. Y'all, I go up to the lip stain booth, right? Because I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, like I'm wearing the lip. I love you guys, like want to learn more about it. The girl's like, okay, you know, showing me the things. And this was towards the end. And I think everybody was kind of getting tired. She's like, what kind, or like, what color do you want to try? And I'm like, oh, and I'm looking at them. And she's like, she dumps them all in my bag, like 5 different lip stains, just threw them all in there, full size. I'm like, oh my God. And what we were gathering is that a lot of these brands came with so much stuff and they didn't want to have to bring it back. Like they just wanted people to take it. So like, y'all, you know, those like headband things that people started wearing. So like when you wash your face, like you don't get water on you. I literally had a girl stuff 6 of them in my bag. Like she's like, please take more. Like they would just like shove shit in your bag because the brands didn't want to keep it. Like they didn't want to ship back all of these samples. Like they didn't know what to do with it. Oh my God. It was actually insane. Like I had no idea what to expect. But anyways, me and Juliana are going around, and you guys, she's like 5 foot, maybe 1. She's tiny. And I feel like she was like in shape, but like I'm just bigger and sturdier. Like the tote bags started to hurt me because they were so heavy and we started having so many. This little gal, I was like, oh my gosh, we need to figure out something to do. We go back to the Sally Hansen booth and we're like, can we drop these off somewhere so we can just like take a break? And then also like we were still walking around and we had like 3 totes that were like full, right? Well, one of the girls at the Sally like booth was like, yeah, put them in the back. There was like a door and like a little part in the back where we could set them down. So me and Juliana set them down. We got a new bag and then we started walking around more. It was crazy and it went by so fast. We were just booth to booth. And then at the end, I remember looking at a girl, I think we were at like Charlotte Tilbury, and she's like, do you even care? Like, cause she's like giving me, everybody was like trying to give the spiel, and she's like, do you care or do you just like want the stuff? And Juliana's like, we just want the stuff. And we like opened her. It was actually kind of disgusting. Like it's crazy. It was insane. I'm so grateful. And it was amazing. Like everybody was so nice. Like the brands and everybody that I met, everybody was just like, it was the best day of their life. I mean, it was like Disneyland for like beauty. Like if you're into makeup and beauty, it's in Orlando next year on like the 16th, 17th, 18th, I think. You can buy a ticket. I'm not sure how much it's going to be next year. It was incredible. So finally, I think it was closing at 4. Okay. And nobody had decided to go home, or I think maybe a couple of girls. And actually it worked out. Luis was like, we'll just run the Sprinter van back and forth because all of the shit, like we wouldn't have all fit into the Sprinter van with our stuff. So like some girls went back. I see a text at like 3. So we had been there for 4 hours now, and it was like, hey, just so you guys know, it closes at 4. You might want to get out of there because the line to get the gift bags, because everybody was waiting to get the gift bag at the end because we had so much shit. Like if you would have gotten the gift bag in the beginning, it was like $1,000 worth of products. So it was like a Baze bag, like a Baze, like, is that how I'm pronouncing it correctly? Baze, you know, the one by the actress. Beis, Baze, I think is how you say it. Like a tote, or not a tote, like a carry-on bag, essentially, full of product, and another Ulta bag. Okay, so if you would have gotten that at the beginning, you wouldn't have been able to carry all of that shit around. So somebody texted, I think it was Luis. She was like, you guys might want to leave because the line for that, like once they close at 4, all of the people are going to come out and get in line for their bag. So I look at Juliana. I'm like, are we good? Like we still didn't hit all of the booths. You guys, there was like 200 booths there. Oh, I did get to meet Michaela, the Kim Kardashian. I don't know how else to explain her. The makeup girl. She was there as like the host. So she was bopping around. And actually, she's number 1 on the same management as I am. But she had recently posted a Vera Wang fragrance. So actually the girlies that like brought us, the marketing team, they had just been working with her. She did it organically, but they had been like, sorry, trying to like make that relationship. So she was like over by our booth. She bopped around everywhere, but got to say hello to her. Oh, I also met the founder of Naturium. Her name is Susan. She's like an OG YouTube skin and makeup girly. But she started the Naturium brand, which I love. I've told you guys about them all of the time. They're in Target, but they're also in Ulta. She was at her booth. I'm trying to think if I met anybody else no, I don't think so. But anyways, Juliana and I are like, okay, yeah, let's get the fuck out of here before that line gets big. We go through, y'all, we have to go to the Sally booth first and pick up our totes that we dropped off. It's like 5 totes worth. Like we can barely carry that. We have to go through the zigzag line to still go get the gift bag. Okay, so we walk up to this desk, we get the Bez bag and another bag. Juliana literally can like barely carry this. So we go through, there's nobody in line. We make it all the way out of this like private room that it was in. We get out and I'm like, okay, let's go up against this wall, out of the way, and let's condense. Let's like try and compact this, like make it easier to carry. They also had boxes in there, and Louise had texted us and was like, hey, everybody grab a box, because everybody started freaking out about how the fuck are we going to get this stuff home? Like the weight limit, the amount of product, like we all flew in. We're not going to be able to like bring these products home. So they texted and we're like, Sally, we will, when you guys check out, we will go to your guys' rooms, leave your products, whatever you have left, in a box, and we'll ship them to you, which is like literally so kind of them. And y'all, they were amazing. Like if you needed anything, they were there. Like they were so kind, and they were all just like so great girls. But anyways, we go up against this wall. I'm like, let me go get these boxes. Or actually Juliana went. I was like, okay, I'll watch our bags, go grab like 2 boxes and we can figure that out. She goes, and then she also runs to the bathroom. Well, at this point, it was about to close. Like all of the girls are coming out, and they had to walk past me to get in line. Y'all, this line, like not only did it zigzag in the room, it's like all the way out. I'm talking hundreds of girls. And here they are. We condensed our stuff. We like took a breather because literally, y'all, I couldn't even carry all of this stuff. It was insane. We take a breather. Juliana gets back. I'm like, okay, let's move closer to the door. I texted Louise. She said, we'll take you and Juliana, because we were the ones that were ready. We had all of our stuff. She's like, we'll take you guys. And then there were like 3 other girls left. We gather our things, pick them up, get closer to the door, and then wait there for the sprinter. This line of like hundreds of girls, Kyra and Tiffany are like in the back. Like they're waiting for they have to stand in this line for the bag. I'm like, oh, thank God we got out when we did. Like we would have also been at the back of this line. But me and Juliana, we finally get on the sprinter. When we got to the hotel, the valet people got us like literally the things, like the trolleys, and put all of our bags on separate trolleys and brought them up for us. It was crazy. But like more so than the product, the people and the energy and the vibes were just like immaculate. Like everybody was so kind. Everybody was so happy. It's just like a bunch of girls running around. I did see a few like husbands or boyfriends like carrying stuff for their girlfriends. I was absolutely dead. But anyways, we get back, and then that night we didn't have a dinner planned, but we had this custom hat thing, okay, at Paris Hatters. So we, I think, got out at like 3 or 3:30. The sprinter van, like I think we got back to the hotel at 4. Me and Juliana, the other girls, like literally were still in line. I don't know what time they got back, but we were meeting in the lobby at like 5:30 or 5:40 because our hat appointment was at 6. So I got back to the room. I literally like spread out all of the product, and I tried to, number one, put the heavy stuff in the box that they were going to ship, and then also like try and put as much in my carry-on as I could. I knew that the weight limit was 70 pounds for business class, but I still didn't want to go over, because what would I have done if it went over? I tried to put like the sample sizes. So I just wanted to split it up. I'm like, I know I should be relaxing right now because I only have an hour and a half, but I did that really quickly. And then I had like 30 minutes. So I literally sat in the bed and I'm like, oh. And then I got up at like 5:30. I quickly put on jeans and a tee. I didn't touch up my makeup or anything. I went downstairs, and then we all went to Paris Hatters, this custom like cowboy hat shop. But it's like not one of those girly ones. It was like a legitimate cowboy hat. This company has been around for like over 100 years. It was this gentleman, Abe, who was the owner. It had been passed down in his family. His daughter was also there. It was like a family owned business, and they made us custom hats. So we got to walk around, pick out the hats. We got to change the little gem or like the little belt on it, and they custom fit it to our head. We also had a photographer there, which I obviously posted those photos. The same photographer that was at the dinner. And then we got to leave. So it was from like 6 to 7. So we all like bopped around. Obviously, all of these girls are like trying to pick the perfect hat and one that's cute and fun and whatever. I just went up to Abe. I'm like, Abe, get me your best hat. Like, I don't really give a shit. Give me a good cowboy hat. Let me pick out my little belt and I'll be done with it. So I was the first one, obviously. Like, I just don't really care. Like, I'm so not style or fashion. I'm like, I don't know. Just like, get me a good quality hat. Well, and the thing was, Abe, he's like this old gentleman. I learned that he had a stroke, which is so sad, because I was asking him some questions and he couldn't remember. And he's like, oh, I just had a stroke. Like, sorry. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I'll quit asking you questions. But he had recommended a hat to a girl and she was like, but I really like this one. And he was like, well, that's not like a very good hat. And it's like, these girls only care about fashion. I'm like, Abe, they care about fashion, not function. Like, quit recommending. I'm like, you were so kind, but I'm like, I think we have different goals here. But I'm like, that's how I segued into it. I was like, okay, get me a good hat. Like, I don't care. I have a few cowboy hats, obviously. But anyways, got the hat, took the photos, and then the girlies were taking photos outside. I literally, because I didn't eat all day, we were at this thing, literally going from booth to booth to booth to booth. I had breakfast at 8 a.m. I got some fruit and some sausage, and then I grabbed like a tiny little breakfast burrito to go. And I had that at like 9 when I was getting ready, or maybe 10, closer to when we were leaving. From 10 to 4, we didn't eat. We didn't even have caffeine, no water, nothing. Y'all, it was like nonstop on our feet, booth to booth to booth. I got back to my hotel room at 4 and I had like snacks in my room that they supplied when we got there. I had a literal fruit roll up. Maybe I had 2, and then we went to this Paris Hatters. That was all I had eaten all day. So we're all starving. Everybody's exhausted. Like, we were kind of a hot mess. The Paris Hatters thing was so much fun, but the girlies are taking photos outside. I'm like, I don't need these fucking photos. I get in the back of the Sprinter and I'm ordering room service. Okay, I'm like, I'm gonna order this now. That way when we get back, it's like, at least I'm not waiting longer. We get back, and that night we didn't have a dinner planned, which is why I obviously ordered room service. And we could, however, they gave us Visa gift cards. So if we wanted to go out, if we wanted to Uber Eats, they gave us gift cards with money on it. That way, because again, they don't want us to pay for things. Like, they brought us on this trip, which is like, again, so kind. But I'm like, oh my God, I'll save this gift card. Let me just get room service because I can just charge it to the room. And they said that, obviously. They're like, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Well, I get back. I put my hat down. I call Carter to give him an update because I haven't like talked to him all day, and I'm about to shower. I'm literally naked. And when I ordered the food on the back of the Sprinter, it's at ASAP, but then in parentheses, it's at an hour. So I'm like, okay, that was like 6:30. So I'm thinking 7:30. No. It was like 7:30. So I'm thinking 8:30, right? We get back, it's like 8. I'm like, okay, I have 30 minutes. I'm going to jump in the shower. I tell Carter, I get off the phone. I take off my clothes. I start the shower and I hear a knock on my door. I'm like, oh my God, the room's there. I'm ravenous at this point. I put on my pajamas. I open the door. The room service is there. He brings it all in. I got steak. I got mashed potatoes. I got lobster bisque and I got a cheesecake. Okay. Let me just say, okay, wait. Pause. The guy who dropped off my food was the cutest man ever. Like, he was the kindest. He was just like, how are you doing? Is it okay if I come in? So on and so forth. He was amazing. He takes off my lids. He leaves. Okay, and I'm like, oh, finally. So I'm going to call Carter back because I was going to shower, but now that my food's here, I'm going to eat. Well, Juliana had texted and she was like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. Like, this food is kind of expensive. Like, I don't want to charge this to the room. And I kind of had the same thought. I was like, oh shit, it's like kind of expensive. But they told us to, right? So I'm like, they said it's okay. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to be a bougie bitch for once in my life. Okay. I take a photo of my food to send to Juliana because she's like, what did you get? And I'm like, okay, steak, this, that, and the other. I look down, my steak is not there. I pick up my phone. I call Zero, which is the front desk. I said, hi, my steak. I'm like, this kind sir. And actually, once I realized, I grabbed my key and I jumped out into the hallway and I ran down, no shoes, to try and catch him. But it had been just enough time. He was gone. So I come back in and then I call because he told me I could hit 0 when I'm done eating and they would come and collect my plate. I called 0. They're like, hey, Brenna, it's kind of creepy that they know your name, but I understand that it probably is just like an easy system. But he's like, hey, Brenna, what's up? And I'm like, oh, I just realized I tried to chase the man down. He was so kind. I don't have my steak. And surely, but surely, what? It doesn't matter. He's like, okay, I'll get right on that. I'll reach out to him, so on and so forth. And then I get a little knock on my door a little bit later and he brings in the steak. Okay. So then I sit there, I got my steak. I FaceTime Carter as I eat because I want to catch him up on the day, just like I'm catching up you guys right now. And as I'm eating, it's like quite a bit of food. And I'm like, oh, and my tummy kind of hurt a little bit, but I didn't want to waste any of this food. So I ate it literally all. Okay, but like something wasn't sitting right. I'm like, oh, did I just overstuff myself? Is it because I didn't have caffeine all day? Is it because I didn't eat and now I'm stuffing my face at 9 p.m.? Right? I get off the phone with Carter. I'm like, I'm going to bed. I was exhausted. Well, I'm in bed. I'm scrolling. I'm catching up. I hadn't been on my phone all day. I hadn't sat all day. Wow. Wonderful. All of a sudden, I'm about to go to bed and like I start burping and I'm like, oh, and I kind of got that feeling. I'm like, oh my God, am I going to throw up? I go into the bathroom. I'm on my knees in front of the toilet and I'm not quite there, but I'm like, I just wanted to be prepared. I like felt like I could have thrown up. I'm like I'm burping, whatever. Then I have to go potty. I go potty. I sit there for a second longer. I like think that I'm okay. So I go back to bed. I think I got up one other time. I never ended up throwing up, but I'm like, what the heck? That was so weird. I go to bed. I'm like, I think I just overate. I don't know. Something that I ate is not sitting right. Okay. I go to bed. We have the breakfast from 8 to 10 and we are meeting at 8:15 to go to the airport because our flight was like at 11. So the 5 of us Dallas girlies are meeting and then the Sprinter van is taking us. Well, I go down at 8 with all of my shit. I leave the box in the room because like I said, again, they're going to go to our rooms and then they're going to package those up and send them to us. Amazing. Well, okay. Go downstairs. We all meet. We get on the bus and Kyra looks at me and she's like, I feel so sick. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, wait, did you get room service last night? She's like, yes. Okay, somebody else over here said they had the runs last night and Kyra said that she ate and she immediately went to bed. So I think she woke up feeling that. Like, you know, when you throw, it's kind of like going out, you know, when like the best thing you can do when you overdrink, which obviously I haven't done this in a really long time, is like throw up when you get home if it's to that point, because then you'll feel better. But then if you go to bed, you wake up the next day and you feel like shit. Of course you can still feel like shit. Well, she was like sick and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then we talk and everybody that had room service, like nobody was like, she never threw up or nothing, but like something in the tummy was not good. So that's sad because the food was so good. The food was so freaking good. The steak, the cheesecake, literally the best mashed potatoes I think I've ever had in my life. The lobster bisque, incredible. And we all kind of had different things. So I don't know what that was. But anyways, we go to the airport. All 5 of us sit down and we're catching up. And this is where they told me when we first got there that they thought I worked for Sally Hansen. They're like, Brenda, you came off. You know who all of us were. You said, come on, right this way. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Obviously, they knew now and they figured it out shortly after that I was in content. But like, it just got brought up at the airport and we were laughing and we were catching up and we were just so shook. And then we all flew home and then we said our goodbyes. We landed and then Carter picked me up from the airport. I still had this Lyft gift card. And the night before when I was FaceTiming him, I'm like, babe, let me just Uber. Let me use this money. You don't need to come get me. And he was like, babe, I love you and I want to see you. And like, this is what you do for loved ones. You pick them up. Like, he has these certain barometers of like love. And one of his is like picking and dropping your partner off. Again, on Friday, he was working obviously and couldn't drop me off. But when you can, he's like, that is like a love language. Like it's the least you can do for your loved ones to like drop them off and pick them up from the airport if you can. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't give a shit. I would have just sat in the back of the Lyft, looked at my phone, and then I would have been home. But whatever. Him and Maid Dog come and they pick me up. And then we come home, we lounge. It's been so fucking cloudy in Dallas. Oh my gosh, but I have to say, we get home and before I left, I was complaining that I'm bringing my crusty, dusty running shoes. I have one pair of tennis shoes, the ones I run in, the ones I walk in. They stink. I'm like really sweaty and stinky. Fun fact about me. And they're dirty because I've been using them for forever. I love white tennis shoes, but naturally they get dirty. So I was telling Carter before, which he didn't have time to clean them, which I wasn't asking him to clean them, but he mentioned it. Well, I get back on Sunday and he cleans them. I'm like, okay, well, this would have been a nice beforehand. But again, here I am bitching about something like he's literally just so kindly cleaning my shoes. Well, that evening, he's like, do you want to go on a walk? my shoes are wet. Like, he washed them, got them wet. He's like, you don't have other shoes? I'm like, no, I have Metcons, but my Metcons are like lifting shoes. They're so flat and they hurt to walk in. But I'm like, it's fine. Whatever. Let's go on a walk. I'll wear my Metcons. We're on the trail, you guys. And the reason I bring this up is because this was so funny. And this just shows you what kind of man Carter is and what kind of a cunt I am. We're walking and we're on the trail and we pass somebody. And typically when you're going to pass somebody on the trail, you obviously have to like speed up to pass them because, like, you know, you just want to get past them and then get over. Well, we pass them and like Carter's not a slow walker, but I'm a really fast walker. Like, when I'm on a walk, I'm on a mission. And like sometimes I notice we're walking a little bit slower than I typically would, but I never say anything. Well, we pass these people. I'm in my Metcons. My feet are kind of hurting. Granted, on Saturday, I was on my feet all day in flat shoes. Okay, just saying. And we pass these people. And then Carter, I don't know what was in his bones that day, but he like keeps at that pace. We're walking, but my feet are really hurting. And instead of which he, you know, kind of reprimanded me, I was like kind of annoyed. I was annoyed that my shoes were wet. I'm annoyed that I'm in Metcons. Carter, for the first time in his life, is like walking fast. So that's what I said. We were like speed walking and my feet were, I like kept up for a while, but I'm like, babe, I can't, you know, these shoes are really hurting me. So I'm like, babe, for the first time in your life, you're like walking really fast. Can we slow down? I literally said that to him. I'm such a bitch. And he looks at me and he's like, babe, you know, like, instead of saying that, can we be like more loving? Can we say, hey babe, like, can we just slow down? Like, hey love, like, I'm having a hard time keeping up. Like, can we just slow down? We don't need to walk this fast. Like, you don't have to rip me to shreds. And he's right. And this is what I'm saying to you. Like, when I tell you Carter has like never been mean to me once, never. And like, he really just wants like love in this relationship. So like, I don't snap often, but like I just got back from this long weekend. I'm like kind of out of it. I'm like not in my walking shoes. And I'm like, for the first time in your life, you're walking fast. Can we like slow down? Like, I don't have to take it there. I don't have to be a fucking bitch. Right. And he's like, babe, next time, could you just say, and he always, it's like a teaching moment, which like, as soon as he started saying it, I knew, like, after it left my mouth, I'm like, oh, that was so mean. But I just like, I don't know. It just like came over me. And he's like, could you just be like, hey love, can we slow down? Like, hey, we're walking kind of fast. Can we slow down? I'm like, yeah, I could have said that. But that was Sunday. Monday, I was like kind of so out of it. Oh, and I went to Lemme, Lemme, had a booth at Ulta Beauty World, which is Kourtney Kardashian's vitamin gummy brand. And I took 2 sleeping. They gave like little sample. They gave a vaginal support one. They gave the sleep ones. They gave like a sea moss, and they gave like a matcha B12 one, like these little tiny packs with like 8 gummies in there. Well, I was like exhausted, but I'm like, let me take this sleep pill and I'm just gonna, or the gummies, and just like, I'm gonna pass out. Well, I woke up Monday. I was so groggy. I don't know if I slept too much or too hard, or if I woke up in the middle of the night. I don't remember, but Monday was kind of an off day for me. Oh, and so Tuesday rolls around and the Sally girls text me in the morning and they're like, hey, here's your tracking info. I open it up. This was like at 10. No, this was at like 11. They texted. I open it. And it says I have 2 packages, which I left 1 box, but I'm imagining they split it up because it was so fucking heavy. And it says package 1 delivered, signed by like a G Garcia. And then package 2, it had no update. It just said San Antonio. So I go downstairs and I'm like, that's really weird, but let me go look. And the leasing office is closed, so nobody can get in there. So I'm like, okay, like, who signed for this? I go to the package locker room. I go to the mail room. I go to the front. I go around the building. I'm like, there's no package. But I'm like, okay, the second one shows not delivered. So like, maybe there's an issue, and then like they'll both come when the second one comes. So I just go on with my day. I'm like, whatever. Well, one of the Sally girls texts me and is like, hey, Brenna, have you gotten one of your packages? And I'm like, no, actually, that's funny you mention it. I went downstairs, but I'm thinking because of this, so on and so forth. I don't know. And they're like, okay, we'll get right on it. We're going to check and see. Well, they reach out to me later and they're like, oh my gosh, it got sent back to the hotel in San Antonio, never made it out of San Antonio. They're like, we're on it. I'm like, if there's anything I can do, like I can reach out to FedEx. I can reach out, like, you guys don't need to do this. They've done so much for me at this point. And they're like, nope, we're on it. So I actually just now got a notification that I have 2 packages. So I'm wondering if it's here, and that's like my box of like other stuff. It's like more full size products. Anywho, okay, y'all, I took so long. I have like 9 write-in questions and I really wanted to get to some of them, but I feel like it's not a good time today. I thought that this episode I wasn't going to talk about so much, but clearly I already took up an hour and 10 minutes. I still have a few more things on my notes app that I will touch on, but next week, let's do a short catch up and then I'm going to answer all of your questions. I apologize. So if you've left a write-in in the last week, I'm going to get to it next week. I'm so sorry. Next Friday. It's just so long. And my battery died on accident. I must not have charged my thing. I'm like 50 minutes of the way through this episode just now, literally as you're listening. And I look at my camera and it says battery exhausted. It doesn't go battery died. It said battery exhausted. I said, damn, me too. So I just sat here for 30 minutes while my battery charged. Anywho, let me look at my notes. Did I screenshot anything? Remember last week when I said I'm going to start doing the photo album where I screenshot things and talk about them? No. But this weekend was crazy. Like typically I was so out of I haven't gone on a trip in forever, which speaking of you guys, yesterday I booked flights to go home over Memorial Day weekend. I'm leaving Carter. I'm leaving May. I'm going to go on Wednesday, which is why Carter's not coming, because obviously he has to work. And I think I'm going to go maybe see my cousin Lauren. I'm not sure. I just bought these flights yesterday morning, but I'm going to go home. I haven't been home since Christmas. I need to see everybody. I'm excited about that. Okay, wait, let me back this up really quick. Oh, y'all. 2 days ago, I think, Carter left for work. I'm on my little TikTok, and TikTok does the thing where it does memories. Okay, and what pops up? My get ready with me video for our 4th date. Was that our 4th date? Yes, our 4th date when we went to dinner and then when we had sex. But I'm dead. So I took a screenshot. I was going to send it to him, but he literally just left. I'm like, Brenna, don't bother him. Just bring it up later. We're sitting on the couch, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, babe, guess what today is? I said 2 years ago today, we had sex for the first time. And he looks at me and he's like, oh my gosh, that's the day I met Maydog. I'm like, oh, wow. That's so wholesome. Here I am. I'm like, he's right, because he came back to my apartment. That was the day that him and May met. Did not even think of that once. I thought we had sex the first time 2 years ago today. Hot, 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 hot. And he's like, oh my God, I met Maydog 2 years ago. I'm like, oh, wow, I'm so happy for you guys. And then, of course, he's like, it's our anniversary. And then he's giving her attention. I'm like, okay, so you don't want to have sex? You don't want to celebrate? What the fuck? Anywho, I thought that was crazy. 2 years ago. I cannot believe I've only known this man for 2 years. It feels like 10 years, which is so wild. Oh my gosh, you guys, my facial, which is what I've been dying to talk to you guys about because I need your honest thoughts. Okay, I'm going to sit up. I'm having a hard time sitting in my bed today. I cannot wait until we have the second bedroom. Oh my God, have I told you that Carter's like dying to make me a podcast studio? Like when we've been talking about moving, which speaking of, we have tours this weekend on Saturday. So tomorrow when you guys are listening, we have some tours of townhomes. I'm so freaking excited. Number one, it's going to be so fun. Number two, they're self-guided. So like we're just going to go bop around. We won't be with a leasing agent, which is so nice because we can kind of just look and talk openly about our thoughts, which I love. But yeah, we have tours. I'm so excited. I'm literally so excited because I want to lock this shit down. I want to move into a townhome. But anywho, okay, we are, what the fuck was I talking about? Oh, Carter so badly. He like always talks about like making this room like a little studio. I'm like, you are fresh. But anyways, okay, I got my facial. Okay, let's back it up. I go in, this was yesterday. And as you guys know, and here's my dilemma. I love these girls. The spa is amazing. I've never had a facial before. I honestly didn't know what to expect. I explained to you guys last week I was getting the works, which was like a whole thing. But yesterday it was literally storming so badly. So I go in and she's like, oh my gosh, my other appointment's canceled. Like, let's do, I don't know if she did more than she would normally do, but we go. Okay. Or I go. I get there. My girl Cam, she's amazing. I love her. We've chatted so many times at this point when I, stop by with May, but we go to the back and she does this little machine where it tests like my hydration of my skin, my elasticity, my something else. And then she also took a photo. I put my face in this little box and showed me my pigmentation, and my skin is not great, y'all. my skin is not good, which it makes sense. Like I didn't actually get a skincare routine until a few years ago. I used to never wear sunscreen. I am inconsistent even now with my skincare, like totally not shocked by that. I have really textured skin. Like this is why I've been wanting to go. Anywho, we talk about it and she shows me like the charts and just explains, and she's like very real. And this is where I'm having a hard time like justifying if I want to start getting facials and doing this whole thing, because I naturally get sent a lot of PR. I get skincare, but she was explaining to me that there are certain things that can and cannot be sold like over the counter at a Sephora. Like some of the products, no matter how expensive or how non-expensive, like some of them just aren't great, which I know. And like I've seen TikToks, I've seen estheticians, and I've seen like dermatologists talk about things like this, but like I don't really deeply understand. But anyways, so like she's explaining this all, and then she does the facial. She did so many things, and she was explaining that like I've really not sensitive skin, but she's like, Brenna, your skin shouldn't be getting this red. Like it seems really irritated. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what I'm using. I never use the same thing. She's like, when's the last time you used this? I'm like, oh, I don't know. And I'm trying to explain. She's like, cleansers. And I'm like, I never use, like I try and use the same things, but then like I'll get a new product and use it. And like, I don't know the difference because I don't even have a good base routine. And like what she was saying is valid, but it's also like, this is a spa. They want you to buy these things, but I also feel like she was being legitimate with me. So like, and also after my facial, you guys, yesterday, my skin, like my pores, because I have really textured and like big pores, they looked amazing, which obviously is going to happen after a facial. But I did get a cleanser from her because she's like, the most important things are obviously just cleanser, moisturizer. She said something else, and then SPF, obviously, which makes sense. But she's like, you need to get the base down. She's like, your skin is dehydrated. And she's also like, the elasticity, like all of the things were not great, right? She's like, we need to have this good foundation. And I'm like, no, totally, I'm there. But I'm like, how much, are they trying to get you to buy? Which I will say, they have like things that are more affordable, which really isn't affordable. It's still pretty expensive, to like really fucking expensive. And I understand that these like medical grade, like I do imagine they are better. Like she was saying that things that are over the counter, like things you can get at Sephora and Target and Ulta, they only can impact like the top layer of your skin. They don't deeply get into like the epidermis, which is like a couple layers under, which I believe to be true. I don't think she's bullshitting me, but it's like, oh, like I get sent so much product, so it'd be such a waste. Like I don't want to have to buy product, but if it's also not actually helping my skin, but I'm like, is she telling me the truth, or is she like so in the spa? I don't know. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Maybe you guys, like, I'm sure I have estheticians that listen. Like I just want a truthful answer, because I believed everything she said, and I did buy a cleanser and something else. And I do think like a regular facial would be good. And I do think your skin health is really important, not even in terms of like, obviously aesthetic reasons as well, but just in general, it's important to take care of your skin. I do know that obviously it's like the biggest organ in your body, so on and so forth. Like she gave me the whole spiel, which like, hello, true. But I'm like, do I need to do this? And obviously the cost, like, I don't know. I'm just like, fuck. And I also get sent this PR, and like, obviously I want to do giveaways and I want to give this stuff away to you guys. But I'm like, does this stuff work? Is it not working? I don't know. But I did love the facial. I did wake up. My skin felt so good this morning and it looked really good. I probably shouldn't have just like pounded on the makeup, but whatever. I set up another facial for a month from now. They comped this first one, which was so kind of them. They didn't like even ask me to post or anything. They were just like offering that, which is like so sweet. I love her. She's amazing. And like, here's the thing. Like, for example, Nanny Mom. Like, Nanny Mom goes to a spa. She gets facials. She buys like the Zoe Health stuff. Like I would go to, the med spa and get her products, and she has great skin. And I'm like, it probably is legitimate. And like all of these like older women that I know, they get facials. And I think like that stuff really does make a big difference. Like, I don't know how much my skincare is doing. So if you guys have any knowledge on that, I just like literally yapped Carter's like mouth off or face off yesterday about this. And he's like, are you getting got? Which like, it's probably a little bit of both. Like estheticians, obviously they're submerged in that world. It's like, how much of this do you need? Nobody needs this, but it's also like, I do believe what she's saying. Like, I'm sure like some of these skincare products like really aren't doing that much. it just depends. I don't know. If you guys have any knowledge, I'm going to do a lot of research on this because on one hand, I want to take care of my skin and I do think it's important and I do see the value, but it's also fucking expensive. And it's also just like, I have so many thoughts on it that I don't know what's right or wrong. That's that. Okay. I guess that's really, it was amazing. The spa was amazing. I loved the feel of it. My skin did look incredible afterwards. And I really do want to start taking care of it and just being better, even if it's the products that I have, just like using the same product. So I'm really going to use this cleanser and only this cleanser. I want to like really get a good foundation going. And then she's like, then you can add like, whatever from the skincare lines, like, with serum and this and that, but like you just really, you need a good cleanser, moisturizer, SPF, which like I believe and makes sense. Anywho, okay, book update, ACOTAR. Y'all, that 3.5 book, that tiny little, it took me longer than any of the other books. I hated it. I didn't hate it. It was cute. It was fun. It was great, whatever, but it just felt like a big waste of time and it was so hard to get through. But I'm now on the 5th and final book, A Court of Silver and Flames, or Silver Flames. Now, this is from the sister's point of view. I'm loving it already. I read at the gym this morning. Love, love, love. And what else? Let me check my little notes app. So yeah, this weekend we are doing the townhome tours on Saturday, which I'm so excited about. And then Sunday, you guys, we're going to the Byron Nelson. The Byron Nelson is a golf tournament that's here, a professional PGA golf tournament. It's like up in McKinney, which is like fucking 40 minutes away. But we're going to go. And then actually that guy that's mentoring Carter is going to be there. So I'm hoping to meet him and just like make a good little impression and get to know, maybe network a little bit and watch some golf. So we're going to be there Sunday, which I'm so excited about. I love all sports. Like I love going to sporting events. And then I think that's it. Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about. Have you guys been seeing this Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend? If you haven't seen, Bill Belichick is the UNC football coach. He's a college football coach. He is like 74 years old. His girlfriend is 24. 50 years. It's actually disgusting. And we need to stop normalizing shit like this. It's weird. It's fucking weird. But they are going viral right now because he did an interview and his girlfriend was in the background and they unleashed released like this video footage from a different angle where like the journalist like asked him like, how did you guys meet? And she's like, we're not talking about that. Like she's not in the interview. She's like off in the corner, but she's like dictating what can and cannot be talked about. But I'm like, y'all, this is weird. They need to break up. I'm sick of seeing them together. I'm sick of this popping up on my For You page. I feel like I could have talked about more, you guys, but I'm already at an hour and 20 minutes. We'll catch up next week. I know we just wanted to talk about the brand trip. It was amazing. I loved the Sally Hansen girls. I loved Ulta Beauty World. It was amazing. It is such a privilege. Thank you guys. The reason I'm able to go is because of you guys. And I'm hoping to do a giveaway soon. Okay, with that shit, with other shit, I want to bless you because you have blessed me. And thank you guys so much for being here. I know this wasn't as juicy as I thought it was going to be. I thought for sure it was going to be juicy. No, these girls were actually like so nice and so cool. Of course, there were some girls that were like a little bit influencer-esque and were like, woo, and like just taking the content and like not, like people that I can't like deeply relate to or like even have a deep conversation with, which not everybody's like that. Not everybody's like me, and that's okay. Everybody's fine. Oh, that's the thing I was talking about with the girl Cam who did my facial. She was explaining that a mommy blogger came in and she didn't tell me who, which is honestly pretty good because I would have just blabbed her name right here and now and obviously done a deep dive. But she was explaining, she's like, it just was, she's like, she plays a character online, but she's like, it was also like a character in person. She's like, I feel like I couldn't really like, it was like, hi, how, like just kind of fake. And I'm like, oh, I hate that. Like there are just so many different kinds of content creators and some that you wouldn't expect. There are some girls that portray online like these aesthetic, like put together, whatever, and then are so cool and also normal. And then there are the girls that are like, so influencer and then they act influencer. And it also goes back to like the reason people start, like some people start posting online to like be someone and be known. And then there are people like me, like I wanted to entertain and also like, I don't even know. Like I just like being a little bit creative and being funny, but I wasn't like dying to be like an influencer and like be known and like go to influencer things. Like that just kind of happens. There's just so many different types of people in life and in the influencer world, it is really interesting. We'll get more tea. There will be more to come. But thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for keeping up with me every single week. You guys are the best. Happy Friday. Have the best weekend. And we'll have a good catch up next week. I know we pretty much just talked about the brand trip, but that kind of just consumed my whole weekend. But we will catch up next week. And yeah, that's it. Okay, I'm feeling brain dead. Love you guys. Bye. I'm so sorry.